All right, welcome everybody back to CoinFest Afternoon Edition Part 2. We've got a few presentations left, going heavy into the gaming this afternoon. First, we'd like to thank all our sponsors, especially Einstein Exchange and Board Exchange, for being global CoinFest sponsors. We'd also like to thank everybody from EngineCoin, GeoCoin, CoinDroids, Symmetria, BitNational. I'm always going to forget one. This TapCoin. They did a great presentation earlier. Okay, so that's all our sponsors. Huge thanks to them. Without them, things like this wouldn't be possible. So, next up, first of our 3 afternoon presentations is going to be Dave from GeoCoin, which is a geocaching game, and he's going to tell us more about it. So, welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dave Mancini, and I'm the lead developer for GeoCoin project. Next slide. So just to start off, I'm going to also follow his lead and thank our organizers and sponsors for putting together CoinFest Vancouver this year. This is a free and open event for everybody in the crypto community to attend. Also like to thank Beaumont Studios for allowing us to use their venue for the Blockchain Gaming Expo. So before I talk about GeoCoin, I just want to give a little bit of my own background. I'm a geographer by trade. I did my degree at UBC in geography. After UBC, I did the BCIT Advanced Diploma Program in GIS. And for those of you who aren't familiar with GIS, it stands for Geographic Information Systems. But when I talk to family and friends, I like to call it computer mapping. I've been working for Backroad Mapbooks as the GIS coordinator for the past 5 years. So I've been helping them map all sorts of outdoor recreation activities across Canada. And in my free time, I enjoy snowboarding, cycling, hiking, and camping. I also enjoy spending time in my backyard garden. So basically, GeoCoin has provided me a perfect opportunity to utilize my professional education and skills and combine that with my passion for outdoor sports and recreation. And most importantly, combine that with my interest in cryptocurrency. Okay, so GeoCoin, the project was originally launched back in January of 2015 by our creator Tobler. The main goal of the GeoCoin project was to bring GIS and geotechnologies to the blockchain. We've basically created a geocaching interface, which provides a blockchain gaming experience where you're able to drag and drop crypto onto the map for others to collect. So when we were originally going to launch GeoCoin, we thought we were going to use the X11 algorithm. But at the time, we received some feedback from our announcement thread on Bitcoin Talk that X11s were already being heavily hit by the ASICs. So in order to provide a more level playing field, we actually switched to a less known algorithm at the time called Qubit. We felt this would actually reward traditional GPU miners more than ASIC miners. Our initial Genesis block was mined January 19th, 2015. So here's some of the initial block reward specs at the time of launch. So as you can see, we started off with a fairly low pre-mine of 34,000 geo. This pre-mine is still untouched to this day and is available to help support development. Like many other cryptocurrency projects, we've introduced the diminishing block reward. This creates and also decreases the rate of inflation over time. So based on these specs, we initially planned 5 million proof of work blocks, which works out to roughly 6.4 million geo. Okay. So we then migrated to the Ubiq network. And in a sense, this actually cut our proof of work mining phase short. So last year, in January 2018, we migrated over to Ubiq as a new ERC20 token. We created a snapshot block at block number 1568125. There's nothing particularly important about this block number, except that it was basically coordinated with our main exchanges, Bittrex and Cryptopia. So looking at some of the revised block reward specs, at the end of our mining period, we mined approximately 3.4 million geo. All the balances were migrated over to the Ubiq network using a 1-to-1 swap ratio during the tokenization process. And at the time, this created a dilemma. How are we going to add to our circulating supply? Because you can't actually mine an ERC20 token using traditional GPU hardware. So in order to solve this problem, we developed a process we like to refer to as proof of location. Essentially, users are able to mine geo by logging into our website, turning on your smartphone GPS, and then navigating to the location of the nearest geo to earn cryptocurrency. Okay, so the proof of location geo drops, in a sense, add to the circulating supply. So this acts as our inflation rate as we drop more coins on the map. And since we have to drop all the remaining coins on the map, we wanted to reduce the total coin supply from 6.4 million down to 4 million. So this reduction in the geo supply worked out to nearly 40% reduction. So this added a significant level of scarcity to the geo token. And this, in a sense, helps preserve its value over time. So, as a result, we are responsible for dropping the remaining 598,875 geo onto the map, and we plan to do this by dropping at a rate of roughly 50,000 geo per year. So new geo can be mined essentially for the next 10 plus years through this process. That works out to annual inflation rate less than 2%, and that inflation rate will continue to decrease as we continue to drop more geo. So now I'd like to describe a bit more of the geocaching technology that we've used. So back in 2015, Tobler developed our initial geocaching interface using the Google Maps framework. For the first time in history, cryptocurrency was being spatially dropped on the map for other people to collect. This created a type of spatial gaming where essentially we're using the world around us as the game board itself. This type of spatial gaming has been growing in popularity lately, with the most notable example being Pokemon Go, which launched a year later in July of 2016. So by the end of 2016, I took over as the lead developer for GeoCoin, and at that time, I decided to redevelop our geocaching interface using a cutting-edge, innovative framework called Mapbox. Mapbox is an open source framework, which is very similar to Google Maps, except it's powered by the OpenStreetMap. So as a result, it created a very new game-like experience. We were able to use Mapbox Studio to control our cartography settings to give it a more game-like appearance. Next slide. We also added the ability to add custom camera controls where users can pan and tilt the world map around them, so it creates more of a game board style of navigation. We also added in the ability to toggle on and off 3D buildings. These 3D buildings are powered off of OpenStreetMap data, and this actually provides a virtual simulation of the physical built world around you that'll help you navigate to the nearest geocoins as you're trying to collect them. So some other things Mapbox provided us was the location geocoder. We were also able to use spatial clustering, so simplifying the map display so that it wasn't to the point where it was unusable, just covered in all these pins. It also offers GPS integration. And for good measure, we added some 8-bit sound effects for that classic coin collect nostalgia factor. Okay, so developing GeoCoin. Developing GeoCoin presented its own set of challenges as the technology is driven off of GPS-enabled smartphones. So when I was developing it, I'd essentially have to drop some geo, head outside to test it out. Damn it, still not right. Run back, change the code, head back outside once again. We're currently running our second phase of beta testing, and if anybody's interested in participating, I'm happy to sign you up here, or you can join the UBEC Discord and head to the Geo channel. So how is GIS being used? Well, the Mapbox framework in itself is a form of GIS. We were able to control our cartography settings based off of the underlying attribution. So basically, taking spatial objects, points, lines, and areas, and using the attribution that's associated with that. Our lat long coordinates are also stored within a spatial database. These are being served as GeoJSON. And we've also used GIS spatial clustering to help simplify the map display. So proof of location geodrops is another great example of how GIS is being used. One of the things that plagues spatial games is you want your users to be using the game in a safe area. You don't want to be near a road and looking at your phone because you might get injured. So as a result, we've utilized some Mapbox spatial APIs to help us drop the 50,000 geo per year. So we've done this using a user-driven experience where you're basically able to pan and zoom into your local area and click drop geo, and this will drop a magnet on the map. So this magnet will essentially attract geo to nearby green spaces such as parks. The reason we did this is because we want it to be a safe public area for users to collect. Our initial results have been quite promising, although on occasion the geocoder does drop some coins on private property, so therefore there is no guarantee that every single geocoin is collectible by every single user. Okay, GIS is also used during the collection process. So we use your smartphone GPS position and we use that to analyze if there's any geo nearby. So once your position is within roughly 5 meters of the location of the geo, it'll be collected off the map. So we also use GIS to wield our ban hammer. So in any game, there's going to be people who want to cheat. But since the reward in this game is cryptocurrency, there's even more incentive for people to want to cheat and nefariously spoof their GPS. So as a result, we use spatial analysis, and any users who attempt to spoof their GPS will be banned instantly. The last time I checked the stats, there was 131 banned users, and considering we have 5,500, that's a very small percentage. Okay, so how is the blockchain being used? So we utilize the blockchain in its most traditional sense. Its best function is to track and secure the storage of geo balances. So we basically use it to fund, withdraw, and transfer balance from our geocaching interface. Any geo transaction will require a small amount of UBQ to pay a gas transaction fee to the network. So the UBQ network runs on a modified Ethereum virtual machine. UBQ has done some very thoughtful things in their blockchain. They've included a flux difficulty algorithm, which targets 88-second block time. It does this by averaging the block time of the previous 88 blocks and adjusts the difficulty based on that. As a result of this longer block time, it actually creates a slower DAG growth. So one advantage is you can mine UBQ using older mining hardware with smaller gigabytes. UBQ is also secured through a modified F-hash algorithm called UBQ hash. So this was the result of a recent governance vote using the Escher governance system, and 97% of the community were in support of hard forking the algorithm away from F-hash. The reason for doing this was it provides greater protection against the threat of a 51% mining rental attack. So a lot of people ask me, why did you choose UBQ? One of the main reasons that we chose UBQ was our original blockchain would experience wild swings in difficulty because of major shifts in hash rate. So we benefited from having added stability provided by a larger network of miners compared to our original blockchain. This also freed us up from the burden of operating our own blockchain. So that allowed us to focus more of our time on geo developments instead of maintaining our own chain. So leading up to the swap, we had to add a benefit of all the Ubic network tools as well. So for example, I no longer needed to host a block explorer for GeoCoin. We could use the Ubic network block explorers that they'd already created. Leading up to the swap, we met with business manager Alex Sturck, and he helped us coordinate it. He also helped us expand our networking into the crypto community here by inviting us to some Decontrol Vancouver events. So leading up to the swap, we actually ran into some technical issues when trying to create our block parser, basically capable of taking a snapshot of every balance on the Geo blockchain. So Alex helped us reach out to active members of the community, G-Free, along with Ubit core developer Julian Yap, helped us resolve our issues and get our block parser up and running. So once we had that, we were ready for the swap. So after the swap occurred, we've received advice and support from another Ubit core developer, Luke Williams, and many other community members. So if there's any token developers here who are interested in launching a new token, I encourage you to check out the Ubit Augmentum Incubator Program. This is basically a community-funded incentive program which encourages and assists fair launch non-ICO token teams in swapping their token to the Ubit network. This will help you focus on building your application on a stable platform and free you up from the burden of writing your own chain, as I mentioned before. So we also enjoy being part of a larger community, and we try and help out in the community as much as possible, assisting miners and answering community questions. So this idea of community actually brings me to my last point. Power blockchain gaming. So I personally feel that cryptocurrency was designed to help change the global financial system and empower individuals in our community. I feel GeoCoin has used blockchain gaming to help promote active and healthy lifestyles through outdoor sports and recreation activities. The GeoCoin project is free to access, open to everyone, and allows users to earn decent crypto returns through this blockchain gaming experience. So I believe, let's go back one slide. So I believe blockchain gaming can help support and promote greater adoption of cryptocurrency use, and expand our entire cryptocurrency community. Essentially, the GeoCoin project has the potential to reduce these barriers of entry into this space. Essentially, users could sign up, log in, turn on their smartphone GPS, walk down the street, and earn their very first cryptocurrency. So that's all the slides I have for now, but I would like to show my most recent demo video for GeoCoin.
This is raw footage here.
Wasn't close enough on that one. I actually can't see the location as I'm snowboarding, so I turned on record and my phone is in my pocket. And basically, my first try, I picked up a few coins on the way down. So pretty stoked.
Did you hear the sound when you went over them?
No. I think it was recording it into the video, so it took over.
You mentioned this started came out.
Yes.
How did the general GeoCoin community feel when that was released? Was that kind of like a validation of some
I
of the
felt it definitely was validation, and yeah, it's like I said, it's a new area for gaming in its entirety, and definitely once Nintendo got on board, everybody in here has heard Pokemon Go, right? So I thought that was a great thing for Geo as well.
And to follow up, did anyone joke about adding a skin on top of GeoCoin to maybe add some like cute pictures on top of the?
As a Pokemon skin, you know, the Mapbox framework is very dynamic and does allow you to do things like that. So you know, we might do that. We could possibly do that on like April Fools or something. But I don't want to piss off Nintendo and Pokemon because they got some pretty valuable lawyers.
I think I missed some parts you're talking about. When you said proof of location, is that akin to proof of work or stake or a validating blocks in the process or just mining?
It's essentially a term that we coined for the process. So it doesn't actually equate into like an algorithm in itself. It's more just using your GPS position. And then once you get close to the coins, that's when it's earned.
All right. All right, thank you very much. Next, we're going to take a quick short break. We're just going to mute the stream, and you guys have about 10 minutes to rest up your legs. And then we're going to have C-Bob Rod from Horde Exchange come up to run us through all sorts of awesome stuff. So yeah, we'll see you guys soon.